Morning friends, welcome to this week's episode of Boyd's Carlton Classic. I'm back in the workshop and spring has well and truly sprung here in Bedford. Days are getting longer, temperature's getting a bit warmer and time to ring in the changes I think. So on last week's video you'd have seen me giving the Jeep a bit of work, and I'm happy to say that within about an hour of putting out that video the Jeep had sold and it's being collected today. So that's great news, and it means we can start moving on to stuff, and I've got a bit more space. So in today's video, I didn't really know what to do. This week's been a really busy one. I've been kind of catching up on things, tidying up and working on sort of daily modern cars, which I don't want to share with you and bore you with. So it is already Thursday and I am off to the Six Music Festival in Manchester tomorrow, so I won't be around tomorrow. So today I'm just going to present to you one of the next projects we're going to be working on, and it's one that I've been really excited about working on for a long time. So without further ado, let's go and have a look at what we've got. So this is a 1989 Dodge Ramcharger, and for anyone who's visited my workshop over the past sort of, I guess, year I've had this, generally considered to be the coolest vehicle that I've got in the stable, and certainly one that I've got a great deal of fondness for. Originally I was gonna build this to keep myself, but that's not what I do now. So I'm now gonna be getting this ready for its new owner, and I wanna make sure that it is as good as anything we've done before. These are obviously a sort of suburban vehicle, two-door, which makes them extra special cool, and they are, I guess, the competitor to the likes of the Ford Bronco, the Mopar version. And I think once we've got this up and running, it's going to make a fabulous show vehicle, daily, whatever someone wants it to be, because it's got a huge lot going for it. Not least, I mean, it's covered in dust now, but the fantastic new paint it's got. So let's have a look around and discuss, I guess, the plan for what we're going to do with this vehicle. So firstly, apologies, we're kind of backed into a corner in my workshop here at the moment, so it won't be the greatest views until we move it out, but I haven't got it running right now, so, and I can't really shove it on my own. So as you can see, the paint has already been done on this, and it looks absolutely fabulous, albeit it's covered in dust. So once we've cleaned it off, I think you'll agree it looks absolutely incredible. And a huge amount of work to the previous owner. I brought this vehicle over from Belgium from the previous owner. The guy had done all this work to make it look absolutely perfect, and he started the mechanical work as well. And it's got some interesting things like a genuine NASCAR exhaust, which sounds louder than war, this thing. You know, it's got some really nice, cool wheels. Just everything about it is absolutely right, I think, in terms of the way it looks. I really love the grille. I really love the sort of the trim lines down the sides, and this window over here. I just looks so cool, doesn't it? With that curvature on it there. God forbid you ever smashed it, but look how awesome that thing looks, and it really commands the road. Likewise, I love the tailgate, the black and silver sort of detailing, and all the chrome bumpers and everything like that. So exterior wise, not a lot to do, which is obviously good for me because it's not my favorite bit to do bodywork. So we'll be giving it obviously a good clean and potentially a polish, but actually I don't even think it needs it because it was freshly painted when it was brought over. Pretty much all the exterior trim and everything is there as well. Decent wing mirrors, all the chrome trim, all that kind of stuff. The perfect potential for a sort of, yeah, like I say, a use all day vehicle for anyone who's, I guess, into kind of classic cool cars. So if the exterior looks great, perhaps it's under here that we need to think about doing some work. So this is a 318 V8. That is, I think, 5.2 litres. But being a 1980 car, this vehicle was of an era when there was a lot more in terms of regulations around emissions and stuff like that. All that stuff was starting to come over in the States. So you'll see there's a huge amount more stuff in here than perhaps what I would like. And it kind of looks a bit, you know, like a spider's nest of pipes and all that kind of stuff. So what I want to do is, first of all, make sure it runs. It was running when I got it a year ago. It hasn't been run since then, really. So we'll need to go through it and make sure everything works. But then, I mean, I think for comparison, if we look at the F100 and how sort of relatively clean that looks, I'd like to try and get the engine bay in here looking as near to that as possible. So there's a few things that we can probably do away with. So first of all, down here, there is a sort of smog pump, like an EGR, exhaust gas recirculation system, which is supposed to improve emissions, but unfortunately also throttles performance as well. So I think what we're going to do is look at stripping that all out to make it cleaner and improve the performance of it. So I think that'll be well worth doing. And then over here as well, let me move my light around so we can see a little bit better. This big behemoth over here, this is all part of the air conditioning system. So we've got a big old air conditioning pump here. Down here we've got a condenser, which has certainly seen better days. And this actually utilized, I think it's called R14 exhaust refrigerant, which is now illegal. So you've really got two choices. You can leave it in place, not running, because we can't use R14, or you can pull it out, make it look cleaner, make it look a bit tidier. And again, it's gonna take a bit of weight away, and you know, having one less thing running off the crank is probably going to marginally improve performance as well. So I need to obviously do some research about how we do it, but the intention is to remove the air conditioning, tidy that all up as well. And yeah, just little things like it's got it's fuel injected, so a slightly more modern fuel system, which I'm not overly familiar with, so we'll have to make sure that's all working well. But things like we can replace the filter and get it all degreased and cleaned under here. And I think once we've stripped out those bits and got it nice and clean, then all of a sudden you start to have something that looks more akin to what we've got over there than this. So quite a lot of work to do under here to try and make what's under here match how great it looks on the outside. So the second part is the interior. As I say, a huge amount of attention was paid to the exterior, but when we start to look in here, it's a bit of a different story. So I've got a huge amount of parts and stuff already in here, and I need to do a complete interior overhaul. I want it to look as good on the inside as it does on the outside. So I think my first job is going to be emptying all this stuff out, taking an inventory and see what we've got. So the Ramcharger is now empty, and look at this treasure. So I say treasure, I think some of it's probably trash, but almost certainly some of this stuff we're going to need. We've got things like a power steering pump, lots of plastic trims, some of the exterior trims which we have, but good to have spares, or indeed they might be useful to someone. The old exhaust, which I think is trash. A really nice new bumper, but I think the bumpers on it are great anyway. The rear bench seat, which is good. Like I say, a load of plastic trims and stuff like that. Hopefully enough to make what we need without having to source too many new parts, things like seat belts and that. And we've also got a brand new black carpet set, which is really good, and another door card over there. So always worth kind of taking stock of what you've got. It's amazing what you find in the back of old cars, because rather than me end up spending money looking for some of this stuff, it might already be here. So let's go and have a look at what the car looks like. So here she is in all her blue velour glory. So, you know, the thing with these cars from the 80s is they tend to have a lot of plastic that goes brittle over time. So we're going to have to kind of go through that. And my intention basically is to completely re-kit out the interior, make sure everything works and tidy all this up, and probably do something with this blue interior to make it black. Currently, you'll see both of the doors. These are obviously from a different vehicle because they're a different color. So I'll need to color code these to the outside of the door, and the two door cards are different, which is why I was happy we've got the other one to that side over there. So again, we can paint those and get them on. Again, that door was red, so we need to make sure that is black on the shut lines. It seems pretty complete up here. It is a really nice place to be in terms of size and comfort, but yeah, I think we can do a lot more to make it a luxurious place to be. Like I say, if the outside of the car looks that good, we need to make sure the inside of the car looks this good as well. So yeah, a bit of work to do. And looking in this gargantuan load space here, so yeah, again, we've got a carpet which we'll rip out and replace, and these big sort of vinyl panels here, and some of the plastics are cracked and broken here. So I'm going to have to be really careful when I strip this out to not make that plastic any worse, because what I'm going to want to try and do is repair it all as much as possible. It might be a bit challenging up here where bits are missing, but I want to explore using things like fiberglass and different sort of plastic paints to kind of get it all nice and black and super cool. The head lining, I'm not sure if you can see, it has no cover on it, but it's there. So again, I want to remove that and think about, I don't know, do we need to strengthen it? Has it kind of got old? Can we make sure it all is nice and solid, recover it in perhaps a nice black vinyl and get that back up there? It's also got a little weird, I'm not sure if you can see it. Let's move you around here a little bit. Weird little hatch here as well, which is nice, isn't it? So yeah, quite a lot of work to do in here to get it up to the standard of the rest of the car, but hopefully you'd agree it's going to be really cool when it's done. So there you have it, 1989 Dodge Ramcharger. Be curious to hear what you think about this project. I think it's going to be a really interesting one and quite different to the stuff that I've done in the past, with it being a more modern fuel injected engine and doing the work we need to do there, but also spending more time on the interior. That is something that I've done a bit of in the past, but I'll certainly be learning along the way here. As I said, this car is one that everyone who comes in here will go, wow, that's cool. And hopefully you feel the same too, because I really feel like this is up there with the sort of pinnacle of what a super cool classic American car is, and very kind of on brand in terms of the square body and the styling and the looks and stuff like that. So from a Boyd's Carton Classic perspective, I think as a ceiling price, this is probably going to surpass everything we've done before in terms of how much it will sell for, which is obviously really, really good for business, but means that I need to put that time in now to make sure it can command that price, and indeed we find a seller. I've seen examples that are worse than this now, let alone before we've done the work, going for well up in the high teens. So, you know, I wonder if we can actually achieve that and how good that would be for the business. So yeah, sorry it's a little short video this week. As I say, I've been busy kind of doing other stuff, and I'm keeping on trucking with the F100 as well. So as I say, there will be a video coming out of that. The process to register it is now underway and work is continuing. So when that is on the road, you will see that next, and it will be up for sale. And I've already got people who are interested in buying it as well. So if that is you, let me know. And then as soon as it's ready, I'll drop you a message. So thank you so much for, again, tuning in this Sunday and spending your time with me. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic end of the weekends, and I look forward to showing you how we get on with this going forwards. See you later.